What's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC, taking a look at the CJRB Pyrite Light, which seems poised to be the next hot budget knife in a similar vein to the Civivi Elementum or QSP Penguin back in their heyday. And that's because this knife offers an incredible value for the money. It's a great EDC size knife, it's got widespread appeal, and it's readily available on Amazon, which is important for those non-knife people who probably aren't shopping at the knife retailers but looking for a one-and-done knife at an affordable price. And this one's definitely affordable. I paid $29.99 for this one on Amazon, which is still the price at the time I'm recording this video. MSRP on it's only $40, so even if it does go up a little bit, it shouldn't be more than a couple of dollars. I'll make sure to link to it down in the description of this video. Available in both this blue as well as a green, which is kind of a OD green, but I really love this shade of blue, which is why I went with this option. Based off of CJRB's already popular Pyrite platform, but the light version is actually a little bit larger than the original Pyrite at 7.6 inches overall. Doesn't compromise on weight though because of the FRN scales. These are going to be similar to what you get on like your Benchmade bug out, but unlike the bug out, this actually has full liners all the way across. I can't really show that. I don't know that you'll see that if I turn it this way, but they do go all the way the length of the handle, unlike the bug out where it's just the area around the access lock maybe to about here. And so one of the major complaints with the FRN on the bug out is the amount of flex, and there's significantly less flex. There's hardly any at all. You can get just a little bit, but it requires significantly more pressure than it would on the bug out, so it just feels a little bit more sturdy. The other, I guess, complaint about it is that it looks and feels like plastic, so it has kind of a cheap feel to it, which is a very valid concern on a $200 knife, but a little bit less so on a knife at this price point. And so with those FRN scales, even with the liners, our weight ends up being 2.82 ounces, which is incredibly lightweight for a knife that's over 7.5 inches overall. Get 4.25 inches on that handle, so plenty of real estate for a full 4-finger grip, relatively comfortable as well. If you've watched any of my other videos though, you know I like to get right up behind that cutting edge, and this one does have a generous finger choil here, and so able to get up here. There's some nice jimping on the spine, so really able to lock in. I kind of pinch backwards towards that handle, and even though there's no ricasso, I'm not super concerned about creeping up onto the corner of that blade, able to pinch here and just get this super secure grip that to me always feels like you have a little bit more control when you're right up behind the edge. I don't know if that's actually true, but that's just how I feel in my hand. So love the way that feels, and with that finger choil I'm able to spread out even more, just really kind of put your fingers wherever is comfortable without worrying about falling off of the back of that knife. Get a 3.34 inch blade, which is again bigger than the original Pyrite, which was 3.11 inches, and Wharncliffe style blade on this one. I've seen a lot of people already requesting a drop point style blade. I'd be very surprised if they don't eventually come out with one, but even if both were available from the get-go, I probably would have went with this Wharncliffe just because I'm a fan of Wharncliffe style blades. Black PVD coating on both the blue and green version, so no satin option yet, but wouldn't be, again, surprised to see that in the future. That PVD coating is over their in-house proprietary steel AR-RPM9, which is a steel developed by CJRB and Artisan Cutlery. Now, if you follow along closely to the knife industry, you'll know that there was a little bit of controversy on how that was represented by CJRB and Artisan Cutlery and what components are in there and that sort of thing. But there has been no controversy on how it's performed. I think you'd be hard pressed to find a better steel at this price point, so perfectly happy to see that AR-RPM9 here. Again, we have that Wharncliffe style blade with a nice flat grind, almost a full flat grind. You can see it terminates a little bit before the spine of that knife, but it's also a super thin blade stock at 0.10 inches. So we got this nice thin slicey blade, thins out even more towards that tip to give us a little bit more of a point there as well. Thumb stud deployment, and it's riding on ceramic ball bearings, so incredibly smooth, nice snappy action here, whether you're thumb flicking it or spidey flicking it. It feels very, very good, just kind of fires out of there incredibly smoothly, and you can see very well placed thumb studs. They're riding right up on that handle when it's open, outside of the cutting path of that blade, so no worries that you're going to get caught up on that when you're cutting. Really minimal billboarding as well. We just have the CJRB on this presentation side. Flipping over to that back side, we have what I'm guessing is a model number. It looks like J1945, and then the steel etched there AR-RPM9, but both tucked nicely against that handle out of the way, so not in your face billboarding. The handles themselves have a interesting texturing down here. I think it's better than plain plastic, not really adding or taking anything away from me. Pretty non-offensive. You have some contourings in this finger groove, and that's not super textured like like it would be on the Para 3 Lightweight or your bug out, where they're a little bit more textured. And I say that because we do have a reversible pocket clip here, nice deep carry stainless steel pocket clip, nice and springy, good retention, easy in and out of the pocket. But the pattern does continue under the landing spot of that pocket clip. And so I don't really think this is going to be one of those pocket destroyers where it destroys the jeans because of sliding in and out. The texture, really, you can't feel it hardly at all. So if it is a pocket destroyer, it's going to be a lot more minimal than something like the bug out. The Para 3 Lightweight, obviously the landing spot has been cleared out there, so you don't have to worry about it, but the texturing is just really not that aggressive at all. We have a lanyard hole in the back, like the placement of that. I have been trying to get more into lanyards on my knives, and I really like when the hole is back here on the spine of the knife rather than right at the end, because what happens with those, for me at least, I've noticed that they kind of swing into the path of the blade, whether it's opening or maybe holding the blade closed, and it's just kind of annoying to have to make sure that it's out of the way. But when it's out here in the back, it tends to just stay out of the way a little bit easier. So do like that placement quite a bit. Again, like that it has those full liners. It's still ultra lightweight, but feels a little bit more sturdy than your bug out FRN skills. So overall, really, really solid knife. I think can't go wrong. I think this is going to be one of those that just offers so much value that a lot of the knife collectors are going to grab one, because why not? People who are new to knives can check out a button lock, Wharncliffe style blade, maybe even check out those FRN scales before getting something like that Para 3 Lightweight or bug out and spending a lot more money, seeing if that's something that's for you or if they feel too cheap for you. Nice way to test run that. And then again, for those non-knife people who are looking for a one and done knife, I know CJRB is good for that. I gave a friend of mine a CJRB probably about 5 years ago, haven't really thought about it, and she texted me like a week ago that her friend got her first knife that was also a CJRB, and she's still carrying the same exact one. So definitely know it's friendly for those non-knife people. But let me know what you think of this one down in the comments below. As usual, if you enjoyed the video, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, joining the channel as a member. I'll make sure to link to this in the description. One more thing I don't think I mentioned actually real quick is that button. There is the tiniest bit of button stick, and it's pretty minimal. And honestly, that's kind of to be expected with button locks, even much more pricey button locks. A lot of times out of the box, you get a little bit of stick. Let's see if you can hear it. So just a very, very minimal amount of stick. When I've gotten comparable button stick from other models in the past, it almost always works itself out completely where it's not present in the future. Sometimes you get a lot more out of the box. This one has so minimal that I'm fairly confident that that's going to go completely away, but did want to make sure to mention that before closing this video out. But again, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. As always, I hope you have a great one. Take care.